Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My PhD colleague asked me, why do you take 13 hours flight from Singapore to Rome?
Yeah.
And the reason is what I'm going to say. Christmas is a happy occasion, but 4 years from now on, no, 4 years ago, tsunami in 2004 took lives of 250,000 lives and cost about 30 billion in the history. So we sensed the signal from the tsunami 2004. That's why we named our team Signal, that we have to catch out the signal of the Earth, which is sick, which is devastating, and which makes us why we are united here. And I'm speaking on behalf of, I'm Alan Lai Yu-Hong from Taiwan. Now I'm studying in PhD program in National University of Singapore. I'm speaking on behalf of Alex yicgg2008rome from the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy, National University of Singapore. As we can see from the introduction, that Southeast Asia is the most disaster-prone area. That makes our mandate to do something about global governance, to better treatment this area in terms of the natural disasters. As you can see that 2004 Asian tsunami, this year Myanmar cyclone, and recently Vietnam floods. All these disasters, we can have a mapping of Southeast Asia, that they are so frequently happening in these decades, thanks to the global warming, and that makes this region so vulnerable and prone area, disaster prone. So let me introduce ASEAN. We try to propose that there should be some center called DRTLC, which stands for the Disaster Response Training and Logistics Center under the Secretariat of ASEAN, which is a regional intergovernmental organization standing for 10 countries in Southeast Asia, which are the most disaster-prone area. And the reason why we can make our proposal feasible and transferable is that the political feasibility, we can see from the Myanmar this year, that actually Singapore take some initiative, and the ASEAN, the other members, take some initiative about the how to build a disaster resilient community. That we have to build our capacity based on the agreement, which is signed in July, and we submitted our proposal in May. So what we can predict is that what ASEAN is doing is what we try to figure out the proposal will be feasible in the future. Let's look at the rationale of our proposal. One, there is a trend of Southeast Asia mapping disaster. Second, that disaster, especially global disasters, is a really good test from the nature, from the Lord, to test we can do a good global governance or not. So this is a so-called reality check. And third is that the global governance failure because of mechanism and institutional failure. So that is very obvious to see in disaster management. So based on what we can get from the ASEAN agreement in July, that we gain our legitimacy and feasibility because of the agreement, and then we propose our proposal as a global governance with a regional approach named DRTLC. And we can see from the framework that DRTLC is not something that we talk. Actually, we practice what we preach. So first of all, we talk about assessment. Assessment, just like Professor Bacchetti in the beginning, that he talked about reorientation. So reorientation is the first thing that when we do the assessment about the reality check, we try to gain the contextual understanding of each member in the region, and we try to identify and localize the risk, which is mentioned by Professor Perona, that this is a so-called risk reduction in the information system. And then we try to gain our understanding before the disaster, and then we have a regular and daily basis institution like a virtual center that that can make these all these projects available, accessible, and affordable, which can be resolved by the regional cooperation. And the post-disaster, we have to memorize very clear that the emergency call is a very important thing. That for within the 72 hours, the golden times, you have to get your relief team as soon as possible and as accurate as possible. So in the assessment part, we will do the assessment of the disaster. And most important of all, actually, is the data process.